All right, everybody, welcome in to Concrete Jungle, New York Baseball Podcast, coming to you live from the third floor, North Park Building, FingerLakes1.com. I'm Paul Russo, joined as always alongside Kyle Evans, producer Nate Sharman. Excuse me. Normally we kind of ask how we're doing, but we have some breaking news to kind of attend to here. We're breaking some news. Excuse me. So as we know, teams have to get down to the 26 size roster today, and out of the Mets camp, we have big name pretty much getting the can, joining the unemployment line, Kyle.
Yeah, Robinson Cano, which is very surprising, honestly, just because guys like Travis Jankowski and Dominic Smith do have options.
Right.
But yeah, like Dominic Smith has been swinging the bat really well. You don't want to send him down. And Cano has been struggling. But I'm just kind of surprised based off the money situation with Cano. He's owed a lot of money right now.
Yeah, so the other player here getting optioned in this scenario with the Mets is reliever Yohan Lopez. He will be joining Syracuse tomorrow. Per Ken Rosenthal, with Cano being DFA'd, he was owed $40.5 million combined this year and next year. The Mets will still be on the hook for that. But, yeah, it's interesting. Cano did have a couple of really good games to start the year, but, yeah, I mean, in my mind, if you were going to option Dominic Smith, I think you're better off trading him. I think he'd be pretty perturbed by that. He is, through the course of the past couple of years, I know we touched on him actually a little bit on Thursday, has really shown his worth. He's become, like I said, a very good player. Probably not quite what everybody kind of thought he was going to be, but certainly very, very good. The Yohan Lopez one, I'm not maybe necessarily surprised about to a degree, but I figured they'd be more inclined to maybe keep an arm. But you do have to get, I think it's you have to get down to 13 pitchers or something like that on roster. So he was probably more or less the arm that they're going to probably more keep maybe loose, kind of like what they're doing with Peterson, I guess, down at Syracuse. Kind of keep it loose, kind of keep it stretched out. Lopez, he's kind of bounced around a little bit here. I know this is usually not how we kind of get going with the podcast, but I think it's a fair shakedown to probably do this. And we'll also probably get the Yankees out of the way with here in just a minute. I know theirs is not as breaking, but yeah, Yohan Lopez does have some run as a starter. I know the Mets were using him out of the bullpen, but he's had starts before with Arizona. So that's probably what they're doing. I mean, it's a Syracuse Met team, too, that needs any kind of help they can kind of get to a degree. But, yeah, I mean, the Cano DFA kind of was rumored even from the jump in spring training a little bit, too.
In my opinion, it's just a very quick hook. I think people forget that he missed an entire season, because of his suspension. And,
right.
Any hitter offer him, it was a year off. He basically took a year off. Mm-hmm. It's going to take some time to kind of get back into the swing of things. I mean, he even had a shortened spring training. So I just think it was a quick hook where early in May, if he wasn't producing, let's say, like late June, then I think maybe you could probably make that move. But right now, just a little too early, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know if it's actually too early, but I don't know where he fits in that roster anyway, to be honest. He's pretty limited to where he can play in the field at this point. You could probably still get him away at second base, but
he can play first.
Probably I was going to say first, but you already have the log jam there of Alonso and Dom Smith, who, to me, frankly, are much better players at this point than Cano.
And I guess he could even DH a little bit, but
again, that's where
he wouldn't be an everyday starter.
That's where you have Alonso and the Dom Smith situation.
Yep.
Pop up.
He wouldn't be an everyday starter. He'd kind of get at bats here and there, but.
For the Yankees, obviously they don't. This one's not as breaking. They announced the moves last night. But Clark Schmidt and Miguel Andujar, the two getting sent down to AAA with them with Scranton. Andujar, not surprising. Again, Schmidt probably a little bit of the Lopez issue with him, just to make sure his arm stays stretched out and get the pitch roster to 11, would be my bet.
I do feel a little bad for Schmidt, though, because
I agree.
he did throw a scoreless inning yesterday as well, and he has actually been pretty solid.
Well, I mean, not to jump ahead, but with that decision he did get yesterday, he's 2-1, about as close. I mean, he got a 1.08 ERA.
Yeah, he's been pretty solid. So it's kind of, I know he was a little disappointed in his post-game press conference, but you can't blame him.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think to me it almost is it might have been Michael King if Michael King hasn't been as good as he is either, to be honest with you.
Yep.
It's a tough spot. All right, we're going to start with the Mets, though. We'll go back to the Mets and start with them. Excellent. Again, pick up the series win, 2-1 over the Phillies. They've taken every series this year, all 7. Great start to the year for them. But mainly for them, Friday is the big headline day for 3-1 victory. Cylor Mago, I think is what they're calling him online. Picks up the win. He's now 4-0 on the year, 1.93 ERA. Aaron picks up the loss for Philly. He's 1-3 on the year, 3.90 ERA. Sugar Diaz picks up the save, his 4th on the year. But more importantly, a combined no-hitter for the Mets. We'll touch on that in just a quick second. Give a shout-out to the offensive power in that game, being Pete Alonso with a home run and Jeff McNeil picking up a couple RBIs and a couple hits on the way. But the Mets, combined no-no, total of 92 pitches thrown in that game for the Mets.
Really, really impressive. And even in the 9th, it was I think it was the middle of the Phillies order that Edwin Diaz had to shut down, which was even more impressive. Like Harper, Real Muto, forgot the other guy, but yeah, it was just very impressive.
Yeah, the thing with Diaz that's been pretty interesting, we kind of talked a little bit, oddly enough, last really couple of weeks about how we're not too sure what to make of him. It's a lot like what we were talking about with Chapman, and it's funny how they're both kind of finding ways, and the similarities amongst these two teams at this point, how the portions that we thought that were struggling and stuff like that, they've kind of found their ways the past week or so, past couple weeks, and certainly the Sugar Diaz conundrum, we kind of thought, maybe they kind of go the Trevor May route. Trevor May certainly does not look like that's the option, but Diaz has come on pretty good. Obviously, he really only had the one opportunity all weekend to get a save, and that was Friday, but was able to capitalize, like you said, Kyle, in a tough spot. Let's discuss this. The no-hitter, obviously, still great, but I know a lot of people are kind of really discounting it because it was a combined no-hitter. There was 6 walks issued in that game by the Mets. To me, no matter what, no-hitter is still pretty tough to do. Obviously, I think a lot of the stuff this year in that regard, it's been kind of highlighted by what the Dodgers did with Clayton Kershaw in Minnesota, pulling him after 7 perfect innings, and then obviously, I can't remember who the reliever. I think it was Vesia came in and gave up the leadoff double right away, but. To me anyway, I don't think it necessarily takes as much credibility away as a lot of people kind of think in these situations. It's still hard to do. When you're a reliever, you still have to come in, you still have to do the job at hand.
Yeah, I agree with you. To go 9 innings without allowing a hit to a Major League Baseball team, that's still impressive to me. And the thing is, a guy that came out of the bullpen, like one of the relievers, could have had a bad day and could have, ruined it, but they didn't. They all had to be really good that day to complete it. So I just think it's impressive.
It's interesting because we've kind of joked about how the Mets at this point have. We'll end up discussing it, I think, a little bit as we preview the series against Atlanta. The Mets have a couple of different guys here at this point who are legitimate Cy Young contenders, right? I think obviously Scherzer's the obvious one that jumps off the page. Chris Bassett, or as native Zubin call him, Chris, that's my Cy Young Bassett.
That's a Paul Russo. That you said that last week. Chris, give me my Cy Young basket.
I've been saying that more about Silo or Mago, but
You said Trevor Cygill, I think you said last week.
that's true. But yeah, I mean Maygill now is fully entrenched. I talk about how, to me, you really notice at the third start really if what we have is a legitimate thing or if it's like a fraud thing. But Maygill, look, 4 starts, 4 wins.
Yeah, Maygill kind of reminds me of how Nestor Cortez with the Yankees came on and just, got in a groove and has been, just really solid. I think that's kind of what he's turning into. A guy that you didn't really expect to be as good, and all of a sudden he's coming out and he's just dominating.
Yeah, I mean it's been fun to watch, as I know the starts he had last year were shaky. People didn't know if he was more or less the next, whether it was Seth Lugo or Peterson really at the same token. But yeah, great start to the year for there. Saturday, 4-1 Phillies victory over the Mets. James Norwood picks up the win for Philly, and Amatavino picked up the loss coming out of the pen. Corey Knebel picked up the save for Phillies. Positives, though, was Ty Walker comes back off the IL, goes 5 innings, only gave up a couple hits, had a strikeout, but looked really good, all things considered. Obviously, they didn't rush him too quick back. In fact, they probably did an extra hold through the rotation to make sure he was good to go. And look, he looked really good for the wear. I've been a big Ty Walker fan personally. Hard thrower, can get crafty when he needs to be crafty. But that's the start you needed to do out of him, and it's just a tough spot. The offense just didn't really show up that game. Nothing you really do. I mean, Lindor picked up a hit in an RBI. Mark Hanna had a couple hits, but
Yeah, and that's going to happen.
just not enough.
Yeah, that's going to happen sometimes. Even as good as some teams are with really good offenses, you're not going to be really good every game. So yeah, I mean, you kind of feel bad for him because he pitched so well, but it's good to see him back.
Right. Then Sunday Night Baseball last night, big offensive output from really both teams in this case. 10-6 though, Mets victory. Max Scherzer picks up the win. Now he moves to 4-0 on the year. His ERA does go up to 2.61. Zach Eflin picked up the loss for Philly, gets his second loss in year 1 and 2, 4.5 ERA. Top performers, Max Scherzer went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 4 earned, a walk, and 9 strikeouts. Bit of a classic, I'd say, on the positive end of things, with Scherzer, a bit of a positive, right? Kind of the usual stuff, obviously, with the 9 strikeouts, for example. Gave up 5 hits, which isn't a ton. It was the fact that he gave up some big hits, left stuff hanging, for instance, that Schwarber home run, for example. Tough spot there, obviously. But Schwarber, he's I jokingly call him really the king of slow pitch softball. Obviously, he's not as pudgy as he used to be, but he's a classic, 125 power, 50 contact guy. And the show for his stat line.
16 career home runs against the Mets.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Bit of a Met killer. Dom Smith, 4 for 4, double 3 RBIs. McNeil picks up, has a good day, 4 for 5, couple doubles, RBIs, and 2 runs. In that offensive output, the Mets actually had no home runs last night, but a ton of doubles. I mean, Pete Alonso hit the ball hard. It's just a really good game overall in my mind from the Mets, really. Again, everybody's talking about how, Scherzer didn't look good. Well, yeah, maybe not by his true standards, but he still looked really good, all things considered.
Yeah, take away that home run and his line looks totally different, and I don't think that many people would be, saying that today.
Right.
Dom Smith did not want to be sent down. 4 yesterday, 3 RBIs.
Well, he shouldn't have been sent down anyway.
He did took himself right out of the conversation for the call downs today.
I mean, to me, and I think this goes back to a different conversation. For his past year and a half, should have taken him out of the conversation. Period.
And I think he was hearing the rumors, and that probably fired him up even more to go out and have an outstanding night, and that's just what he did.
Yeah. All right, 4-game series with Atlanta, down in Atlanta, or should I say Cobb County, Monday through Wednesday this week. Doubleheader tomorrow to make up for a game previously in the year. So tonight, 7:10 on SNY. Max Fried, he's 2 for 2, 3 flat ERA against Chris Cy Bassett, 3-1, 2.25 ERA. This is where things get a little bit trippy rotation-wise because of the doubleheader. Braves have not announced who their starter is for the 3:10 game. tomorrow. That's on SNY, the first game of the doubleheader. TBA versus Carlos Carrasco, 1-1, 4.09 ERA. The nightcap, 7-10, SNY or FS1 are both TBAs. I think that's technically supposed to be Ty Walker's spot in the rotation. I'm not too sure who will take that spot either. Believe you're checking to see if anything was announced yet, right? Nothing?
No, I just wanted to note that series is actually going to be in New York, not Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it would be a 7-game homestand.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Apologies.
Yep.
And then Wednesday getaway game, 1:10 in the afternoon, which is tough. Those games are tough coming off of doubleheaders, especially where it's a true doubleheader and the first game is late afternoon like that, mid to late afternoon. But Wednesday, Ian Anderson gets the slab for the Braves. He's 2-1 on the year, 4.66 ERA against Tyler Maygill, 4-0, 1.193 ERA for the Mets.
Yeah, I say 3 out of 4 Mets.
Yeah, I'm with you. Obviously, the big factor is going to be that second game of the doubleheader. Obviously, you don't know for either team, like I said, who's pitching. I know for the Mets that would technically be Ty Walker's spot in the rotation. But with him, be sure that he's coming back. That is technically a day pushed up from where he usually would be throwing. So
At worst, a split, in my mind.
right. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to probably see, because the doubleheaders you're able to call up one extra person for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be surprised if that's probably Peterson coming up to throw. So either that or maybe we get Mike Montgomery. I don't think Montgomery's on the 40 man. So
And he allowed 7 runs, I believe, the other day.
yeah, he gave up 7 yesterday.
Yesterday.
In fact, so it's worst outing on the year for the Yes Mets. Anyway, that's the Mets outlook and what they had on the weekend. So Mets are rolling, but we go to the Yankees here. Both teams, by the way, we forget to mention because of the breaking news off the top, right? Both the New York teams are the best team in baseball.
Yep.
Which is wild considering where we were really a couple weeks ago with the Yankees. So we'll go through the breakdowns and then discuss the Yankees stuff here. So Thursday, they did finish up the series with the Orioles. Obviously, touch on that quick. They won 10-5. Gal Castro picked up the win. Bruce Zimmerman the loss for the Orioles. Judge 2 for 4 with a homer and 4 RBIs. Rizzo double and RBI 2 for 5. Donaldson picked up a hit and RBI as well. Rizzo pretty much the best first baseman in baseball offensive wise right now. Pretty wild. They pick up whatever they're technically calling it this year, the all-month team, I think, or something like that. I don't.
Yep.
It has some dumb sponsor hooked onto it. I don't know. Friday, the opening game in Kansas City, 12-2 win for the Yankees. That ended after 8 because of weather. Nestor Cortez picked up the win. Chris Bubeck the loss for the Royals, but Nasty Nestor picked up his first win on the year finally. ERA goes down to 1.31 ERA. Stan 2 for 3, homer, RBI, walk, run. LeMahieu 2 for 4, a double, an RBI, and 2 runs. Kyle Higashioka 1 for 3, double, walk, 3 RBIs, and a run. Excellent offensive output from all 3 different parts of the lineup that Friday for the Yankees.
Yeah, that was really good to see. I know the starter for the Royals coming into that game was struggling, but you still got to go out there and perform, and that's what they did.
Right. Saturday, 3-0 win. Garrett Cole moves to 2-0 on the year, 3 flat ERA. Carlos Hernandez the loss for the Royals. And Aroldis Chapman picks up his 5th save on the year there. Garrett Cole, 6 innings, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts. Hicksy comes back off the paternity list, goes 2 for 2 with 2 walks and a run. Good ABs for Hicks, all things considered. And then Donaldson making another appearance here. He went 1 for 3 with a double, 2 walks and a run. Then on Sunday, 6-4 victory for the Yankees. Clark Schmidt picked up the win, as we mentioned, before he got sent down. Dylan Coleman the loss for the Royals, and Chapman his 6th save on the year. Severino did get the start, no decision, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned, walk and 4 strikeouts. Judge 2 for 5, 2 dingers, big blast for him, 3 RBIs, and Connor Falefa, who had a very good series overall, and he didn't get any headlines really, but good series for him. He went 1 for 3 yesterday with a double, a walk, RBI, and 2 runs scored. This is not the same team we were discussing 2 weeks ago. This was a team 2 weeks ago we were pretty perturbed at, kind of wondering, I think more on the managerial side. I still do have some questions on the managerial side of things, but that being said, This offense has really come around, finally producing in most spots. It's weird because on the Mets side of things, we attribute a lot of it to Buck Showalter and what he's done and changing the attitude. With the Yankees, I think it's the players changing the attitude, not so much the coaching staff. I think the prime example of it, and it's something that I think maybe we can kind of chalk up to COVID to a degree, kind of not having the team bonding stuff happen as much. But Thursday, the getaway game, going from New York to Kansas City for the flight after that day game against Baltimore, you have, for instance, Rizzo and Judge, who are both proud wiener dog owners, Dachshund owners, wearing custom-made Dachshund Hawaiian shirts, for example. This is a very good team camaraderie team. I think this is one that we probably haven't seen probably since that 2017, 2018 team where you had the Ronald Torres show going on in the dugout after the home runs and stuff like that. To me anyway, and I'll leave this up to both of you, I guess, at that point for the rest of it as well. I really do think this is a player kind of operated system at this point with the Yankees. I think it like I said, it's been kind of funny the way Boone and the rest of the coaching staff, I don't think has made as much of an impact. I think maybe the positional coaches have, but in terms of like that attitude adjustment, I don't think it's coming from them. I think it's coming from the players' side of the locker room. Whether and this is the thing, right? This is actually the problem I've had with Brett Gardner, is a lot of people wanted him to be the captain and everything like that, but he never had a voice in that locker room, or a good voice in that locker room. To me, Judge has really kind of taken that mantle at this point. And in my mind has over the past couple of years. And I think a guy like, Rizzo does make a really great impact. I was one of the people who wasn't on board with getting Freeman for as long as the deal as it was. I was fine with getting Rizzo for the 3 years. And then you have the stuff come out after the fact that maybe Freeman's not the best guy to have in the locker room exactly for a team that kind of wants to have the fun aspect of baseball. And Rizzo, all things considered, I know he's maybe not as rah-rah a guy, but at the same token, I've never heard any issues with him as you have with Freeman. Rizzo tends to be like I said, he tends to maybe not be rah-rah, but, you look at him at the base pass, he tends to at least have a smile on his face, having fun, stuff like that. And then, look, when the guys get mashing, Stanton's a fun guy to be around from what I've understood. Same thing with Glaber. I've heard Glaber can actually be a pretty fun guy to be around when things are going good. And obviously, like I said, Judge tends to be carrying that mantle pretty well now.
Even Gallo.
Yeah, Gallo.
Yeah, he's been
Gallo's
struggling.
tough. Gallo's
Still
in a tough
has fun.
spot. Yeah. So I'll leave it up to you guys now, I guess, if you guys see it from the player side of things or anything like that.
Yeah, the vibes are definitely different. I do compare this team early on to the 2017 team. I just think when, you're having fun playing the game, you get better results. And I think after that Orioles series in Baltimore when they lost 2 out of 3,
Right.
that really woke them up, and they just kind of got pissed off about it and, showed that on the field and started to play really well and started to have a lot of fun, and here we are. They're just rolling.
Right.
Yeah, I won't beat a dead horse from what you guys said. I agree completely. I guess the only thing I can attribute it to is it was with the Sabres. Kyle and I know firsthand. Paul, you know of course too. But they've had a lot more fun in the back half of the season, and the records to show for it.
Yeah.
So it's something that forbid they have fun while they play a sport, right? And
Exactly.
at the end of the day, it's just a sport, and it's a profession for them, of course. But you got to have fun, and good things come with that, and good things come with fun. It is winning. So they definitely go hand in hand, in my opinion.
And the thing is, they're also starting to hit a lot of home runs all of a sudden, which they didn't really do in the first, 10 to 12 games. And I don't know. They're not only hitting home runs, though. There are situational hitting. They're stealing bases. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Aaron Hicks have been a big part of that. Even Tim LeCastro coming off the bench. They're playing a different style of baseball than they were last year, and you can just see it. Home runs are still there. They're still the Bronx Bombers, but there's different things that this team is doing that last year's team wouldn't have done.
Yeah, I think it's it's been interesting because you kind of get You get Marcus, and this is where I think goes back to like that positional coach aspect of it, right? I mean, Marcus Thames gets shown the door, bringing a whole new hitting staff, pretty much. And you're right. I mean, this is a Yankee team that is doing things that we have not seen, in all honesty, for a couple of years. And I kind of like how they're kind of zigging a little bit when everybody zags. I mean, they're like you said. I mean, IKF is kind of stealing bags all of a sudden. I mentioned Hicks, that game he had Saturday, 2 for 2 with 2 walks. I mean, he was having good at bats, and you bring up a good point though with the home runs. I think obviously the short porch gets mentioned and stuff like that, but look, Kansas City is a pretty tough park to hit a ball out of. It's one of the collectively deeper yards in baseball.
And wind was a big factor too.
Right. At least in Baltimore, Baltimore's actually become the toughest hitters park in the league this year with the renovations, and they did get some home runs there, even though it was a tougher series, but they did get home runs there. This series coming up against Toronto is going to be pretty telltale, though, because the Toronto team's obviously good. The Yankees are sitting atop the AL East, second best record in baseball, or maybe technically the best record, I guess, because of win-loss. They have one less loss because they played one less game than the Mets.
Yep.
But it's going to be interesting. Let's dive into the Toronto series. Tonight, 3-game series, obviously mentioned in Toronto, Monday through Wednesday, 7:07 tonight. Montgomery, 0-1 on the year, 2.70 ERA. Need some run support for my guy Gumby, please.
That's the storyline of tonight's game, honestly. Will Montgomery get run support?
He goes up against Ross Stripling, 0-0, 3.60 ERA. Kind of, they've been using Ross in that flex role. I think this is his test run to be a full-fledged starter tonight, possibly. Excuse me. Tuesday, tomorrow, 7:07, also on yes. Jameson Tyone, 1-1, 3.62 ERA, 2.6 rather, against Alex Manoah, 4-0, 1.44 ERA. Manoah, really great young pitcher.
And he owns the Yankees.
Yeah.
The Yankees have not beat him.
Yeah, this is going to be big. Fun fact, Manoah's brother plays for Rochester. So
That's really cool.
yeah. That one's going to be tough. And then Wednesday, again at 7:07, also on yes. Yankees have yet to announce a starter. That is Cortez's spot in the rotation. So that's kind of making me wonder what the plan is possibly there. Don't know what's going on, but who knows?
Hopefully not an opener situation.
Right. But Yusei Kikuchi is slated to go for Toronto. I don't know about this series. Part of me thinks 1 and 2. I don't know. I'm not confident the offense will show up for Montgomery. At the same token, I'm not confident that we just won't poke holes in Manoah's game tomorrow.
Yeah, this is a different team, though, I think, than the first time the two teams met. I just think the Yankees, like we just kind of discussed, are having more fun. They're winning more games. Their offense is rolling a lot more. They're hitting more home runs. And I don't know. I think that could kind of be good. And, it's not. This game's not going to be played outside. It's going to be in a dome. So could the ball be flying out all series? Hopefully. But at the same sense, like Jordan Montgomery's on the mound tonight, they literally do not give him run support. So could the opener already be a loss? And then tomorrow's Manoah, who they cannot seem to beat. So there you go. Toronto could take the first two, and yeah, they could actually lose a series.
Yeah. I'm gonna lean 1 and 2. I think they lose the series. I think they pick up a win. I don't think they get swept. I'm not confident though. Just not confident.
But if they do win the series, then I think more people are going to start,
Right.
saying like, oh yeah, I'm definitely more confident in this team. But yeah, they've kind of played weaker teams in the last few weeks.
Right.
But you still got to win games, even though it's not the Yankees' fault that the Royals are on their schedule, the Orioles are on their schedule all these times. But yeah, like I could honestly see them losing this series, but I don't know. It all depends on the offense, really. The pitching's always solid.
Right. All right, let's move on. Get down on the farm here and get dirty for the final few moments of the pod. as we mentioned last week, first meeting of the year, the Red Wings and the Mets in Rochester. Rochester took the series 4-2 over Syracuse. Just interesting notes, I guess, more or less, throughout the series that popped up over the past couple of days. Luis Garcia was named Red Wings Player of the Month. 30 hits, which is second in the International League. 23 runs, which is first in the International League. Slashing 353, 409, and 624 with an OPS of 1.033 in the first 20 games of the year. So not bad for one of the Nationals' top prospects. Got to see Garcia Friday night a little bit and did pretty good, all things considered. So let's dive in a little bit. Me and Nate were at the game on Friday night. That was a 6-4 Syracuse win over Rochester. First game for both of us on the year, right, Nate? I don't think you managed to go up there before.
Yeah, first game of the season for me. Thought it was great.
Yeah.
I love going up there for games. Great spot to watch. We're on that third base, just as we talked, Kyle. We're on that third baseline on Friday night, and it's really one of the better experiences in Rochester for a Friday night. Great time had by all, and I'll certainly be up there again. Maybe we can get there this week. Scranton Yankees farm team there this week.
Yeah, way to jump ahead a little bit.
I know, sorry. My bad. I'm just excited to go again because I have a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I know at least right now they don't have all the stuff in the concourse opened up right now. Just the colder stuff, you don't get as many people drawn out, but still for the most part your main stuff was open and stuff like that, so it was fun. So let's touch on Frontier Field though right now. Because it was announced at the end of the week last week, Frontier Field is getting a $10 million grant from the state, but it's also going to go in conjunction with I believe it's already a $12 million grant from the MLB to help upgrade to get female locker rooms more or less with that, add some kitchen additions, a new batting. They call them tunnels now. I'm not too sure why, but tunnels/cages, weight room, a video room, and some new seating. And then this $10 million will help in the new seating department, as well as a pretty cool thing that's popping up in baseball. The trend is this bistro-style seating. They already kind of have a little bit of that style going on in left field at Frontier Field, where it's kind of like you have a table, like a bar top table kind of type thing with about 4 seats or so. So you have more of that. Picnic and patio areas, as well as a 360 concourse. So that's pretty much a concourse going around the whole stadium type deal. It's going to be tough to do, obviously, at Frontier. You have, what street is it behind back there? I'm drawing a blank. That's not good. Either way, the one road that kind of runs right in the back of left field kind of buffers up the stadium right there. So that portion obviously you won't have too much of anything outside what you already got. But the idea is to have a path going around the whole stadium, so that way you have fans. You get fans that have a better, more or less time in view. I've not been to a game there yet, but I've been to the park actually in Kannapolis, North Carolina, with the Kannapolis Cannonballers. They're a low A team for the Chicago White Sox. In their stadium, they redid it a couple years ago, and this is the style that they have. And it's really cool. It obviously, down there helps a little bit, obviously a slightly warmer climate, but, in the summertime, I've seen pictures of how the fans are really spread out throughout the place. They really utilize having that 360 concept around the stadium. And to me, for a place like Rochester, I think it's going to do very, very, very well. Because Rochester, look, to be honest, Rochester has enough of a pretty young demographic going for it right now that I think for people our age, all things considered, all three of us are in varying ages in our 20s, but to me, having a style like that is going to benefit the Red Wings and Frontier Field in the long run. Like I said, because, for me, I like taking advantage of the more unique seating opportunities if they are available or something like that. And like I said, the 360 concept is great because it allows you to buy a seat no matter where you're at. But you could walk around, and I know, I'm going to go back to this Kannapolis example. Out in right field, they have a legitimate bar where you can just go and sit if you wanted to. I mean, I'm guessing that's probably a concept that you'll probably see Rochester introduce at some point. I mean, Rochester has enough breweries to take your pick. They already have, I mean, Frontier and the Red Wings already have deals with Genesee and Robach that you could probably do it anyway. So, I think it's will open up opportunities for not only, I guess, the fans, but also the community as a whole. Oh, okay. Well, I saw a finger point between both of you two, so I figured one of you guys was going to go.
I figured Nate had something to say. I saw him looking like he was about to say something.
But yeah. Well, there was one disappointing thing, by the way, about Frontier Field. Do you know what it is for me? Do you take a guess?
I don't know. You like the store a lot, so I'm not sure. Not sure what you're referring to. Actually,
There was no beer bat.
Oh, no beer bat. Yeah, I think just early in the year, probably, right?
You could buy an empty beer bat glass from the team store, but they didn't have any of the beer bats out because I think I think it's the left field bar. I forget what they technically call the bar there, but it was closed. It's one of the things that's just closed right now.
Yeah, it was chilly that night, so I think that'll probably come, right?
Disappointing. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Right. I mean, that's one of the places, especially in the summer, that's always kind of popping. So.
Yeah, I think they do happy hour. I think it's Thursday nights, right?
Yes.
So they probably open then, but on the other sorts of nights, maybe not.
Yeah, not much to really touch on with Syracuse. Their moments were high. I mean, when we were that game on Friday night, Palka hit a home run that got out in about 2 seconds, just absolute laser shot. But other than that, it was a rough one. A little bit of a shout out though with Connor Gray, who started that game for Syracuse Friday night. Bit of a hometown affair. He's from Frewsburg, pitched at St. Bonaventure, and I believe that was his second career AAA start. It's his first year up at AAA, but credit to him. Nice victory for him on Friday night. A little bit of a local flair, obviously. Frewsburg, a little bit, obviously in the southern tier, but pitched at Bonaventure, a good Division I program, and finding his way in the Mets organization. So. Shout out to Gray. I know he'll begin the start at some point this week for Syracuse. So with them, obviously, in this one, Syracuse hosting Lehigh Valley this week, affiliate with the Phillies. The only, I guess, main promo for them that sticks out to me is Friday night for them. It's Marvel Superhero Night. Other than that, they have their typical like Thursday Buck Night, all you can eat Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. So, but the Marvel one is something that. They have an agreement with Marvel and minor league baseball to kind of grow the game and stuff like that. So that's actually the first of two that they have on the year this year at Syracuse. Rochester, as you mentioned, Nate, hosting Scranton Wilkes-Barre this week. I think we're trying to target a day to go up and catch another game this week, a little bit warmer temperatures, but couple different unique promos for them. Thursday's, I believe, the second Bark in the Park of the year for Rochester. It might be the first. But if you have a four-legged dog friend you want to take to the game, you can. With that, always a fun time, and I believe that's a Milo appearance too with the Bat Dog, so shout out to him. Friday Teacher Appreciation Night, so shout out to all the teachers. You get a pretty awesome discount if you purchase a ticket, and they'll hook you up. And then Saturday, this one is I want to shout out. It's called Clean Sweep. So what you do is pregame. Pretty much you link up. I forget where the exact meeting space is, but you can check it out at Rochester's website. But you go around, clean up spots of the city. You get free ticket and free food voucher to go to the game with that. That's a pretty cool thing. I just want to give a shout out to that. I know Rochester's and Syracuse. So I don't want to knock Syracuse here. But Rochester's pretty unique, just the way the Genesee River kind of cuts through it. And there's a lot of green space in Rochester. Take advantage of it. Take care of it is in this situation, and don't be a litter bug, please. But yeah, if you want to help out with that, you get a free ticket and free food voucher for the game that day if you take advantage of that on Saturday. All right. Anything else to really touch on with them, Kyle? I know, like I said, it just usually in the games like where you have a outright series takeover like Rochester on Syracuse, you can't really pull too much from. In terms of highlights going for, say, Syracuse. But, Rochester, too, it's just kind of tough because, like I said, the Nationals were kind of playing roster stuff with them last week, past couple weeks. And, I know, like, D. Syringe Gordon was down on rehab assignment and got to see him play a little bit. But, It seems as though it's probably going to be like the Luis Garcia show in Rochester here, at least for the time being, until they probably call him up.
Yeah, I really don't have much to say about the two teams other than, I mean, Syracuse has improved compared to how they started off. Their offense is producing more.
I mean, they aren't in the basement anymore, by the way.
Yeah, who is that now?
Durham.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so overall, I mean, Syracuse isn't the best team, obviously, but they're not the worst team, as you just said.
True.
And Rochester, I mean, they're kind of just cruising along a little bit, at 500. We'll see where they end up, but they could be a playoff team.
All right. I think that takes care of the show for the day. Coming to you guys live again on Thursday. I think the plan is 11 a.m. So we'll plan for 11 a.m. for the live stream. If not, though, if you aren't able to watch live, say like today's episode or any episode for that matter, you can go back, check us out on YouTube to watch. Also, audio only can be found on Spotify and Anchor, and soon to be, I believe, Apple Podcasts, once we hit that threshold number of, is it 7 or 8, Nate?
I think it's something like that, yeah.
Okay. Well, we're almost to that threshold, so hopefully there soon. So yeah, we'll catch everybody again Thursday. Kyle Evans, Nate Sharman, I'm Paul Russo. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Concrete Jungle, New York Baseball Podcast. Catch everybody Thursday.